quickly re-establishing himself as the most embarrassing man in MMA after a recent bid from Khamzat Chimaev to take his place. Conor McGregor has launched a scathing attack on both Islam Makhacheve and featherweight king Alex Volkanovski, as he somehow still believes he's relevant in either man's division. Today, we're discussing McGregor's recent delusional comments and looking back at some of the Irish fighter's greatest feuds. Stay with us. Let's jump straight in then. What did McMouth have to say this time? Having been told by Volk earlier this year that McGregor was basically the worst featherweight champion in history, having never defended the title he won from Jose Aldo back in 2015, Conor McGregor has since had his say on Volk's upcoming fight with Islam Makhacheve. McGregor, clearly bothered that he's in irrelevance in both divisions today, posted a picture of Makhachev side by side with Volk, both with their respective belts, following the conclusion of Saturday's fights. He captioned the post with, "My 2 old belts, on 2 little ticks," before adding, "This fight does 10 buys," suggesting that neither man is able to command the draw he is. However, Volk wasn't going to let the Twitter warrior that McGregor has become get away with that, suggesting that winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners, which quickly put the Notorious in his place. Of course, Conor then gave us a glimpse of that famous split personality he so often shows off online, telling Volk that he was happy for him, before claiming somewhat delusionally that this is not over. Volk then informed the former champ that he would be ready to welcome him back when he does eventually make his comeback, but he had to get the last word in, saying, "I was in your exact spot one time, don't forget. 145 coming up, good luck." The idea that McGregor would cause any problem to either Makhachev or Volk nowadays is truly laughable. I mean, he's won 1 fight in 6 years. So what else do we know about the interaction between the pair? Well, somewhat condescendingly, McGregor decided to give the current pound-for-pound number 1 some advice, like he needs it, alluding to the upcoming lightweight title fight, which we think will probably go ahead on the Australia card at the end of February. Conor told Volk, "I'd say go heavier. Rugby days. Be a bowling ball. That's how I'd do it as you. Your condition right now as I see it, I don't know. But bowling ball style for you for best chance." Of course, Volkanovski has destroyed everyone in his path so far, whilst McGregor has been wasting his days lounging on yachts and drinking his whiskey, not to mention embarrassing himself online every chance he gets. So the idea that Volk needs McGregor's advice is ridiculous. The Aussie had angered McGregor earlier this year when he dismissed him from the featherweight GOAT conversation. Of course, Volk chose all-time great Jose Aldo, but refused to acknowledge the Notorious because he never defended the title. When discussing the GOAT issue, Volk said, "You need title defenses. That's the thing. I'm going to give him respect. The dude can fight. He made some bad decisions and all that type of stuff, but he can fight. To take out Aldo in Aldo's prime, that's saying something as well. Aldo is still showing he's still in his prime. He doesn't age." But he then added that he feels as though he's done more than McGregor and that he's at the bottom of the list. We're discussing some of his greatest feuds now, starting with Aldo. Conor had been scheduled to fight the Brazilian back in July 2015, but the fight had to be postponed due to Aldo injuring himself in the build-up. This only served to stoke the flames between the pair, as Conor debuted the brash persona that he is synonymous with today. This feud was the basis for what McGregor's superstardom was launched on, as he made his way through some of the featherweight division's biggest names of the time, Holloway and Poirier for example. Aldo was never far away from the forefront of McGregor's mind, and he had no problem reminding everyone in each and every post-fight interview that he was coming for the Brazilian's belt. As the fight was booked in for UFC 189, the pair embarked on a 12-day world press tour, where Conor succeeded in taking up residence in Aldo's head rent-free. The tour would see McGregor throw darts at a photo of Aldo across a Rio bar, but when Aldo pulled out due to injury, the fight had to be put back a few months. The pair would renew their rivalry in December of 2015, with McGregor actually stealing the Brazilian's belt on one leg of the press tour. Of course, he would go on to knock Aldo out in just 13 seconds during the fight, in one of the most impressive title performances of all time. What did you make of this feud? How can we discuss a McGregor feud without discussing Khabib? Probably the biggest feud ever to engulf the world of MMA, not just the UFC. The McGregor vs. Khabib feud involved members of both teams, an attack on a fighter bus after one UFC event, and an assault by Khabib on Conor's team after he had submitted the Irishman back in 2018. Khabib has become synonymous with the respect he showed his opponents over the course of his career, so his response to McGregor's antics just showed how much the Irishman had gotten under his skin. The feud turned ugly many times, and on one infamous occasion after McGregor teammate Artem Lobov had been accosted by Team Khabib, McGregor and his crew attacked a UFC UFC bus containing fighters. The Notorious decided to throw a dolly at the bus, which actually sent shards of glass into the faces of fighters such as Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg. McGregor would continually make personal remarks aimed at Khabib and his family, as well as his religion, before Khabib shot back accusing Conor of being an alcoholic. And before the pair met at UFC 229, McGregor would stoke the rivalry even further by saying, "F peace. There will never be peace here. I always said you should aim for peace, but if you can't aim for peace, aim between the eyes. And that's it. I'm going to aim right between that man's eyes, and this is never over. Never, ever, ever over." Khabib would strangle Conor, then hop over the fence to attack Dylan Dennis. Mayhem. Nate Diaz is up next. Diaz and McGregor were two of the most popular fighters of their time, but when they met back in 2016, and it might never have happened but for a freak injury to Rafael dos Anjos. The Brazilian was supposed to fight Conor but broke his foot, meaning McGregor had to find a new opponent. In stepped Diaz to ignite one of the best feuds in UFC history. The chat between the pair in the build-up to the fight was first class, as Diaz warned McGregor that he was angry because the Irishman was taking everything that he had worked for. The press conference was even better, and it seemed as though the pair could erupt at any moment. Of course, Diaz would submit McGregor in the first fight, coining the now immortal words, "I'm not surprised," when he was asked how he felt in the post-fight interview. And they would fight again just months later, with Conor coming out on top after winning a majority decision. There have been plenty of suggestions since that second fight that McGregor and Diaz could one day meet again, but with Nate recently leaving the promotion and Conor now seemingly a social media star, that looks highly unlikely, unfortunately. What did you guys make of this one? And finally, it's McGregor against everyone. As we've alluded to many times during this video, Conor McGregor is now more synonymous with his embarrassing social media posts and brushes with the law than he is with fighting, which is actually a sad state of affairs given what he has achieved. But since becoming double champ, he has seriously let himself and his family down by continually embarrassing himself. He attacked an old man in a pub who refused a drink from him in 2019, and was also previously involved in an incident at a Bellator event in Dublin in 2017, when he pushed referee Marc Goddard. He's also been involved in numerous driving offenses, as well as the bus attack at the UFC 223 Media Day. In March 2019, it was alleged that he had been accused of assault, but prosecutors declined to charge him. He then slapped the phone out of a fan's hand who had been filming him before being arrested yet again for another assault in Corsica. The former champ was then involved in altercations with Machine Gun Kelly and an Italian musician and TV presenter by the name of Francesco Facchinetti, proving that no matter how much money you have in the bank, you simply cannot buy class. What do you make of McGregor's numerous run-ins with the law? As usual, thanks for dropping in on us today, and remember to stop by again next time when we'll be discussing all sorts of other fun bits and pieces. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, as well as subscribing to our channel. Bye guys!